Welcome to the Stevia Show. It's the Stevia Show. Helping you expand on what you know. Throw in a meme of the week and a review of the screen. And you have a show that covers everything.
Hey, Team Stevia, and welcome to episode 75 of the Stevia Show.
A talk show podcast that covers pop culture, world news, local artistry, and everything in between.
As always, this is Steven.
And this is Lydia.
And we hope everybody's doing good. Coming off a week from episode 74, where brighter days are ahead, and we still have good news to share. So it's not all bad. This is not all bad this week. So we can just go ahead and get right into it with the meme of the week, and you will never guess who the current edgelord is. It's Dalton. So that means this next week it should be Matt, because they are flip-flopping. So I'll go ahead and pull up the meme really fast on our Discord, and it's the epic handshake meme where it's the two really buff guys like doing the like kind of doing your like a handshake, and it says flip-flopping edgelords, Daltron, and then Teddy Flood 69420, and that's what won him meme of the week this week. So surely Daniel Basin will choose Matt for next week. So we will wait with bated breath and see where that goes.
It's like they almost have a pact going.
I mean, at this point. So, I mean, I would like to thank them for keeping the meme of the week going. And you and I, we always say that we're going to make a meme for the upcoming Friday, and we literally never do. So maybe this Friday is the actual Friday. So we'll see. But I wouldn't bank on it, TBH. So
probably not.
Yeah, probably not. So what in the world of media is going on, Lydia?
Well, not a lot. Movie theaters are still closed, so I still haven't seen any new movies. I am watching the Valhalla Murders on Netflix. It is it's based out of, I think it's based out of Iceland. The story takes place in Iceland. I haven't really picked up on the language that they're speaking. I feel like it's some kind of Icelandic language. Mm-hmm. But it's really good. It's a murder mystery show. So if you don't have a problem reading subtitles, I would do that. Go watch that.
Cool.
Update on Artemis Fowl. I think last week I said that Artemis Fowl, it's a book series that I read when I was little, not little, but younger. They're doing movies. Disney's doing movies based on them, and we didn't have a release date, so now we do. It's going to be June 12th on Disney Plus. So they're not even going to go to the movie theater with this movie as originally planned. And then one that I'm really excited for is Dune. It's December 18th is its release date, and basically it's an upcoming science fiction based on the 1965 novel Dune by Frank Herbert. They did do a film back in 1984, but it won the worst movie of the year, I think.
Yeah. It won the Stinkers Award for the worst movie of the year, which has now been replaced by the Golden Raspberries. So so that's like the modern day equivalent. Yeah. So the 1984 worst movie was literally Dune.
Dune. So
hopefully this one's a lot better. So what's Dune about?
The book is really good, so I'm really hoping that this new remake here in 2020 is gonna make the movie even better. So the movie is basically it's in a far future of humanity where Duke, the main character, accepts stewardship of the dangerous desert planet Arrakis, also known as Dune. The only source of the most valuable substance in the universe is the spice, which is a drug which extends human life, provides superhuman levels of thought, and a whole bunch of other things. So basically, they're on this planet, and kind of a war starts, but it's based way super way into the future. So it has more of like a Star Trek, Star Wars kind of theme to it, but not really. But it's sci-fi for sure.
Okay, right on.
But I'm really excited because I read this book when I was in high school, and I just actually rebought it on Amazon this week, so it should be in this week, so I'm really excited.
Cool, right on. Again. Yeah, this almost sounds like Limitless a little bit. That was a movie that I saw back in, I think, 2008 or 9 or something. I don't remember. And I feel it wasn't Hayden Christensen, was it? No, he was in Jumper. That was Hayden Christensen.
It's with the Hangover guy.
The Hangover guy, Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah. No.
Oh, Paul Rudd.
Why do you think of him as the Hangover guy?
Well, because he's hilarious.
In Limitless.
I'm gonna look it up. Hang on.
Who's the main guy in Limitless?
So the main person in Limitless is Bradley Cooper. Yes, Bradley Cooper. So the other hangover guy.
Cooper.
Yes. Okay.
The main hangover guy.
The main hangover guy. Okay. Right on. So I have seen that. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that it sounds kind of similar because Limitless is based off of a drug that, like, allegedly you can use 100% of your brain or whatever, and you can do all of these, like, superhuman stuff. So it's just from what limited movies I've seen, it sounds kind of like that.
Yes. The spice is what that does, basically. It just enhances all kinds of things, and so obviously everybody wants it. And so if you have control over this planet, Arrakis or Dune, then you control, human life, basically. So it's a really good.
Is it all like resource wars kind of thing? Like people needing like food and like energy, stuff like that?
Oh yeah, and it's got an all-star cast this time around. We've got Timothée Chalamet, which
who you love,
as you know, I am a big fan of. He was in Little Women and a whole bunch of other stuff that I've watched, so I'm excited for that. Oscar Isaac, who played in Star Wars, the newest Star Wars films. We've got Josh Brolin is in the movie.
He's been in a lot here lately.
Zendaya is in the movie. So Jason Momoa makes an appearance. So it's going to be a really good cast of people. So hopefully the movie turns out as good as they want it to.
Hopefully. And I've heard of most of those people, so surely it's going to be star-studded. So
the ones that you would know.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So maybe if anything, this pandemic has, like I have been missing going to the movies, even though I never go to the movies. So maybe I'll start going more, after realizing, how fun going to the movies is. Quentin Tarantino movie update. I did see Grindhouse, which is the dual feature of Planet Terror and Death Proof. Very bizarre, but I loved it. Lots of blood because it's an homage to the 1970s splatter films. So all I have left is Jackie Brown and Reservoir Dogs, and everybody's like, how have you not seen Reservoir Dogs? But I mean, like, I've seen like all the other ones. Like I've seen Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained, and stuff like that. But I did enjoy Kill Bills Volume 1 and 2. Oh, and speaking of spice, for those people in Team Stevia who celebrate, today is 420. So happy 420 for whatever, to whatever, however you want to celebrate.
It's 420, double the 20s.
Yeah, double the 20s.
The whole month, I guess, is 420.
Right, but it's funny because we see all these memes that say, like, if you would have told me, a few years ago that the government would have paid you to stay home and not do anything while Netflix and snacks and all this exists during 420, like, you wouldn't believe it. But everybody, everybody from what I'm seeing on the internet is really sad because they're like, oh, I can't celebrate 420 with my boys. Like, I miss 4/4/2020 and stuff like that. So,
funny.
Yeah, but maybe if we're still alive, I'll be 76 by this point. We might be able to celebrate 4/20/69 in the year 2069.
Oh,
so, I mean, I'm not holding out hope just based on the current state of the world and, the environment and stuff like that. But maybe if anything gets born out of this pandemic, it's a better world. But, that very seldom happens. So we will see. But speaking of the pandemic, we do have good news coming out of Governor Stitt. So, Lydia, what do we have there? Because you always lead out the COVID news because it is interesting.
Oh, yes. COVID-19.
The first to report it.
More update. Yeah. Governor Stitt is working on a plan to reopen the state, which is really exciting. So, let me tell you a little bit more about that. So News on 6 reported on April 15th that the model continues to improve, citing a new curve model saying we will only need 800 beds for the remainder of the outbreak. Governor Stitt says that we have 4 times that. Additionally, Governor Stitt is still saying that we need to keep our foot on the gas and continue social distancing. Stitt is also allowing elective surgeries to resume on April 24th and has extended the state's safer at home order for the most vulnerable of our state until May 6th. Stitt is considering extending it for everyone as well, and should have a policy in place this week. So stay tuned for that. Governor Stitt also has been working with Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt and Tulsa's own G.T. Bynum to create a statewide reopening plan. Stitt said that in a news conference that from the beginning, I've been committed to making decisions based on scientific data and the advice of our public health sector in the state of Oklahoma. He went on to say, we are working on a plan to safely reopen the case.
Yes, so that's nice. I really like how he's working with mayors Holt and Bynum to get a statewide plan going. That way, everybody's on the same page. So, I mean, I mean, from the beginning, I think we said that Governor Stitt acted maybe a little too late because he was a few days behind, but thankfully he wasn't a few weeks behind. Currently, Utah still does not have any sort of statewide mandate and process in place, which to me is nuts. But I honestly think Governor Stitt has done a fairly good job with this. I mean, I for sure rank him at least a 7 out of 10. I mean, like, I don't know how to rank people in handling pandemics because I've never handled one, but I mean, but compared to other governors, I think Stitt is doing at least better than most. So maybe
I think he's doing at least better than most.
Yeah, so we could at least, I think we can say that. So the updates on cases from Lydia's interesting map. Lydia was right, where the world did break 2 million cases this past week. Unfortunately, that does come with 164,937 deaths. So we're getting right up close to 165,000. In the United States alone, we have 755,533 cases with 40,461 deaths. And Oklahoma having only 2,599 cases and 140 deaths. So we are, I think, towards like the middle bottom in the United States, right? I mean, a lot of it has to do with us
bottom.
being...
I think we're still ranked around like 18 to 21, somewhere between there. So, but it's just because of like population, you know, states like Wyoming and in other places like that don't have as many people per capita. So,
yeah, well, and then the nice thing about, you mentioned Wyoming, the nice thing about Wyoming, too, is that they already are the least densely populated state in the union, so they've been social distancing way before it was cool. I think there's like literally only like 10 people per square mile or something like that in Wyoming. I'll have to Wikipedia that later.
Right.
And then, of course, Florida, surprising enough that this one doesn't start with Florida man. Oh, no, wait, it does, because their governor is a man. So Florida man, Ron DeSantis, the governor, is doing something that's particularly dangerous. And Lydia, what is that?
Yes. So as most of you guys may know, the government did say that it's going to be up to each state to reopen their economies. And Florida man, the governor of Florida, has taken it quite literally as to like, oh, okay, so we're going to open things now. So yeah, that's right. He did. He opened some of the beaches in Florida, and you better believe that we had beachgoers this weekend, with the trending hashtag of #Florida morons on Twitter.
Wait.
Florida opened some of its beaches, and thousands of people flocked there on the same day that the state had their highest numbers of death in one day, which was 50.
Surely that's a coincidence. That's sarcasm, by the way. So yeah, like surely, yeah, that's
like leave it up to Florida, of course, because it's just like nothing surprises me coming out of that state sometimes. So studies in the state have shown that 15% of the whole population of Florida has COVID-19 symptoms, which I think is roughly about 40,000 people.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so the odds of just even one or two of those people actually went to the beach that day are probably pretty high.
Yeah, so that is insane. So okay, so here we go.
So I'm interested to see this week what their chart looks like on if they have a spike. They have a spike of new cases this week.
I'm going to go ahead and pretty safely say yes, that their cases will go up because beaches are a very public space. Like nobody's wearing a whole lot of clothes at the beach. Like that's just how it works. You know, no judgment here. But if you're going to be that close to people, yeah, you're more than likely going to see the cases rise in Florida. So I did mention earlier that there's no real like weighing mechanism on how to judge how good of a governor is doing during this. But I will safely say that Governor Stitt is doing better than Governor DeSantis. Out of Florida.
100%.
So there we go. So we at least have Florida beat, and that counts for something, I think. So,
well, and I think we even have Iowa beat. Old Kim, I can't remember her last name in Iowa. Her name is Kim. She just now said that they were going to close the schools.
Wait,
till May.
School in Iowa has still been going?
So they've been on a extended spring break, and then I think they went. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They just said that they were going to close school for the rest of the semester and do online.
That's ridiculous. Like just recently.
Yes, like on Friday or something, Thursday
Wow.
of last week.
Well, they're super behind. So sorry, Iowa, because the people
like,
of Iowa
what?
don't deserve that. So that's ridiculous.
No, they don't.
The Garlands and Melissas of the world deserve better. So
They do deserve better.
yeah. So we will maybe
So do we
see that.
think, Stephen, the question I have today on the COVID-19 update is,
Okay.
are states trying to open their economies prematurely?
Well, as an armchair politician, I have a few thoughts about this. I want to say yes and no. So again, thankfully we talked about Florida and Oklahoma in the same sentence. So I think that reopening the economy is obviously something that it's going to have to happen, because other than it's going to be terrible if not, and we're of course going to have to eventually get past this. Like there's no way we could hold on to quarantine forever. I think we've all been going slightly crazy, I feel like, and as this has dragged on, but I digress. So with that in mind, I think that Oklahoma is doing it the smart way. I would like to commend Governor Stitt on being very explicit, saying that he's trusting scientific data above all else, and his state's public health officials. So I think that that's good that he's acknowledging that, that he himself is not qualified to have, those he can have opinions on it just like we all can, but that'd be like if I told you how to stay safe during COVID-19 and then just my primary care doctor comes in and says something different. You're going to want to believe the doctor because he went to med school and I didn't. That's just the way things work. So I think as long as trends are looking better and people are following instructions, which so far in Oklahoma, it looks like miraculously that's been the case. I think having a set plan to gradually reopen the economy like what Governor Stitt is doing is fine. But on the other hand, Governor Ron DeSantis, Florida man, reopening all of these beaches, which are very public places, which Oklahoma, the closest thing we would have to that is the lake, but people are boating on the lake, so they're going to be already far away in the first place.
Right.
That's a bad idea. So I think some states are, some other states aren't opening them up prematurely. So we'll just wait and see how the coming weeks happen. Because I am, like you mentioned, really interested to see how Governor DeSantis's decision is going to impact Florida's cases. Because I guarantee you it won't go down. There's no way it wouldn't.
No way. And also, do you think that it was a smart idea for Donald Trump and some of his cabinet to put that kind of power for each state individually?
Well, see, that's an interesting question, because the 10th Amendment of the Constitution is saying that all rights not said in the Constitution are therefore deferred to the states. So we have rights like free speech, the right to bear arms, no cruel and unusual punishment, women having the right to vote. We can't challenge that because the federal government gives us those rights, not the states. So that's why Oklahoma or anywhere for that matter can't say, okay, hey, women can't vote, or, hey, we're going to take away all of your guns. Like you can, of course, because some states will do like voter restrictions, which are sad, but then you have things like gun restrictions, which a lot of people think are good, but you can, of course, tweak those as long as you aren't taking away the rights entirely. So constitutionally, I think that the states do have that power. I'm not a constitutional scholar, so I can't, I can't say this is what's happening now. I could call up my friend Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, who were both professors of law at very prestigious universities, or hell, I could even call Randall, who would probably know a lot more than I would on this.
Right.
But on how I understand it, which is not concrete, I think the states do have this power, and unfortunately, we will see states make the wrong decisions like we have in the past.
Yep.
So that's something that we have there. And speaking of states, we do have something sad to report. So yesterday, April the 19th, was the 25th anniversary of the Murrah building bombing, which was for all of us in Oklahoma and in the United States a very tragic event. So for those of us who might be outside, there were two domestic terrorists, Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols. They used a truck fertilizer bomb to bomb the Murrah building, which was a federal government building in downtown Oklahoma City. Their motive was retribution for the government's involvement in the Ruby Ridge, Idaho, and the Waco, Texas sieges, which were blunders on the government's part, but of course it doesn't warrant blowing up a building. Nothing does. So basically, this act of terrorism was at the time the deadliest act of overall terrorism in the United States until the September 11th attacks, and remains the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in the United States. Timothy McVeigh and Nichols again used a fertilizer truck bomb to murder 168 158 individuals and injure over 680 others. Terry Nichols is serving a life sentence in prison alongside people like Ted Krasinski, who's the Unabomber. They're actually in the same cell, not the same cell, but the same block, which is kind of weird in my opinion. Like, why would you want to put two people who know how to make explosives out of nothing in the same, prison block? That to me doesn't seem like a good idea. But again, I'm not an expert in criminal justice, so that's that's not my decision to make. But Timothy McVeigh was executed by lethal injection in Terre Haute, Indiana, in June or July of 2001. So of course, our thoughts are with the victims, their families, the survivors, and the state of Oklahoma for a very dark day in not only the United States history, but also in our state's history. So. Yeah, so there's kind of our Debbie Downer for today, but it is an important piece of history. So we have had Stevia League going on, and that's been a lot of fun. So Lydia, why don't we kind of flip the switch and talk about that really quick?
Sure. So we've been kind of talking about this for the last couple of weeks, but we do have Stevia League. So some updates on that. This week we have been doing the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Tournament for Stevia League. So we just want to say thank you so much to all of our competitors who have been playing amazing matches in our first week of Stevia League. Our first week was amazing. Thanks to everyone for watching, and congratulations to Blake, Will, Steven, Derek, Paul, and Parker for advancing. This week we'll see the introductions of producers Joe and the legendary Daniel Baston into the league. So best of luck to all that are competing.
Yes, so it'll be a very good time. We're looking forward to it. We had some great matches in the first week, had a few competitors, I think, gone too soon. But unfortunately, that's how sports works, and I wish that weren't the case at all times. And we did have a few people, notably Ernan and Kristen, who had the wrong characters, because Jacob, who is Kristen's husband, plays with Kirby and she plays as Pikachu, and Ernan was defaulted on Mario, but he still did very good. So shout out to Ernan and Kristen for having two good matches and for following the rules and not changing their characters. So I do appreciate that.
We appreciate that.
Unlike a third individual who I will not mention.
We don't need a name.
We don't need any names, but it's okay.
He felt bad. So
he did feel bad. He was legitimately sorry about it. And of course, this is just an internet thing, so it's no big deal. We're just being dumb.
So Steve and I are actually talking about the next already scheduling for the next Stevia League tournament. So if you have a game or something you want to compete in, give us tweet at us or post on Facebook or something and tell us what game we should do next for Stevia League. Yeah,
or in our Discord, because this has been a big success, not just for the Stevia show, but also for the community. I feel like everybody's been really enjoying it, so we of course want to keep it going. And
just a reminder, these take place on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m.
Yes, on Facebook Live. We are fighting on Facebook Live by the monkey bars. It's going to be great. Yes. And, okay, perfect. So in the political world, we do have, of course, Joe Biden is the presumptive nominee. He received a big endorsement from some guy named Barack Obama last week. Literally never heard of him. So Barack Obama posted a video on Twitter. It was about 10 minutes long last week providing his endorsement. A lot of people, of course, felt like Obama's endorsement video was fantastic because, of course, President Obama pulls a lot of weight, as former presidents, especially popular ones, do. I thought Obama's video was very good, especially being somebody who, I mean, of course, I like Obama more than who we have now, just a personal disclosure, but of course, Obama's presidency had a lot of policies that I didn't like, and I think that Obama kind of said that, like if he were to run again today, that he wouldn't run the same campaign he did in 2008, so I think it was a really good, like, self-reflective video saying, like, we need to go further and stuff like that, and a lot of people really appreciated that, myself included, and then he also picked up the key Warren endorsement, and also Bernie and Biden are continuing to do live streams together. I think they did one last week. It was just, two old men talking. That was about as exciting as it gets. But it is nice that they are trying to bridge together their coalitions and work together to defeat Donald Trump. Of course, from an outside perspective, being kind of like politically neutral, I just think this is smart politics. So we will see. We will see how that goes down. And I do think that we might have one up on NPR. And Lydia, what is that?
Well, in theory, we have a one-up on all of the new stations.
Oh yeah, I guess in theory we do, because so kind of like with coronavirus, I think we were talking about it a lot before everybody else was, and then now this we have at least documentation that we were among the first to talk about it. So what is that, Lydia?
Yeah, so NPR finally reports on Biden's sexual assault accusations. Does this mean that we're better than NPR? Probably.
Maybe.
But NPR finally reported on April 19th that Tara Reid had accused Joe Biden of sexual assaulting her in 1993.
Yes, so they are a few weeks behind us, but much like NPR, we are funded by the people, so we can't,
Yes,
we can't say that they were trying to do like any sort of like bizarre special interest, but we just beat them to some good old fashioned, what's the word? Some good old fashioned journalism with integrity.
Journalism.
So even though we did source somebody else, but you heard it here first, quite literally, Team Stevia. And then finally, speaking of NPR, our last piece of news comes from NPR because we did not report this, but they did. So people in Minnesota, Michigan, and the good old state of Louisiana are protesting the quarantine because, of course, that is what Americans do. If I can't go get my hair cut or get a tattoo, damn it, I am going to go raise hell about it because that is my God-given right as an American. Yep. So NPR reported on April 18th that protests have occurred across the 3 states, largely ran by right-wing groups. I don't really think that surprises anybody. These may have been inspired by tweets from President Trump saying literally hashtag in all caps, like liberate Michigan, liberate Minnesota. I don't know if you've seen those, but if you go down, so if you go to his Twitter at Real Donald Trump and scroll down, you will find it, and then you will see that. And other, basically, they're all battleground states for the 2020 election. I think Virginia was mentioned too. So of course he's trying to stir people up in those states to try to get out and vote for him in November. So in the NPR picture, you can see a protester holding a sign that literally says, "I need a haircut." And that's what they are they are risking getting COVID-19 to hold up a sign that says, "I need a haircut," which to me is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm confused about it because even President Trump was saying that he doesn't say a lot of good things, but he did say he was part of the whole quarantine talk. He was like, "Hey, America, we need to do this." Mm-hmm. Maybe Fauci was actually the person to do this.
But Trump still has Fauci on board.
He was like, "Hey, that was a good idea."
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take credit for it. It's going to be huge. So
I don't know why all these right wings are doing that when when Trump said we need to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess since it's because he said that the states can open whenever they want.
And they need to be liberated.
Maybe that's what that started.
Which to me, liberate sounds like we're under hostile control.
Right. And that sounds like they're not free.
Okay. So here's an actual liberation. Here's an actual people being liberated whenever the USSR and the United States liberated the Holocaust or the concentration camps. They quite literally came in with the military, freed the people, and that is a liberation.
Right. That's not a good use. Liberate Michigan and liberate Minnesota is not a good use of the word liberate.
No, absolutely. And he's doing it on purpose. Say what you will about Trump, but he does choose.
Is he doing it on purpose? Or does he just not know what liberate means?
No, I think for better or for worse, more often for worse, Donald Trump very intentionally uses his words. He's good about stirring up the media. He always has been. So I think, and especially with a lot of right wingers, thinking that the government's all tyrannical and whatnot, and that's why we have these people who are open carrying. I think the word liberate is oh, by God, I can't go get my hair cut, so I better bring my shotgun to the Capitol and see what happens, And with
1,000 other people,
right.
too.
I'll be damned if I get that COVID virus, but damn
half of those people are going to have COVID tomorrow.
Yeah. So we had the "I need a haircut" sign alongside of a bunch of people wearing the iconic red MAGA hats, thin blue line shirts, and carrying American flags. So of course they have a right to protest. You can't shut that down. But you individually have a right to be stupid, and people are for sure exercising that.
Well, you know what, Steven?
What's that?
You can't fix stupid.
You can't fix stupid. And I'm pretty sure some famous scientist, what's the guy's name? He had the beard, the Galapagos. Oh, Charles Darwin. Yeah.
My favorite guy.
Yeah, kind of a small household name, Charles Darwin. Survival of the fittest.
I've waited this long to talk about it, but his theory of natural selection doesn't just pertain to finches and their beaks. It
Oh, no.
pertains to literally everyone and everything, especially humans.
Yeah, so I take that back. So I know last week we talked about me almost choking to death on a wheat thin, and how that would have been the worst way to die. I changed my mind. I now would say that me going to a protest holding a sign as dumb as "I need a haircut" and dying of COVID-19, that would be worse than dying
and
by
more embarrassing because you would be on the news.
Yeah, it's not like I chose to choke on the wheat thin, but in this case, I would have chose to be exposed to COVID. But that's just people being dumb.
Right.
But that'll be it. So I think that's about it for today. Kind of your dose of good news in that at least we live in a state where Governor Stitt is listening to science and not reopening many of our beaches that we don't have. And also you are not protesting your right to get a haircut in exchange for COVID-19. So that's about all we have today. Of course, you can follow us on all social media platforms with the handle @The Stevia Show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcast app that you listen to. If you're on YouTube, to search for The Stevia Show and subscribe with that notification button, and be sure to smash that bell icon, or whatever people on YouTube say.
Smash the bell icon.
Yes.
We'd like to thank our Acre producers for their continued support. You can support us for as little as 99 cents a month and receive exclusive Discord roles and bonus episodes every month.
Yes, every month, bonus episodes. And we did this last week too. And I think we actually ended this on a pinky promise that I may or may not have broken. So looks like Lydia is going to have to come to my workbench, get a hammer and smash my pinky, because I think that's how it works. I think that's in the Constitution.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. So maybe we will see that. That could be the bonus episode. Is
we'll be pinky-less next week.
It'll just be shattered. It'll be like, oh, it'd be sad.
Or
so
it'll be like this big, like you smash.
Oh, it swells like in a cartoon. Yeah. Okay. Right on. I think I would rather have a shriveled pinky than a big pinky, because then I couldn't use the rest of my hands.
It's like
Yeah, so let's not smash my pinky. I'm actually going to go ahead and say let's not do that, because I'll go ahead and go protest then that day. I'll be busy. So yeah, we also have merchandise available through our links in our social media bios. So when you visit us online, be sure to click on our link tree and click on merch, and we ship nationwide as well, including if you're living in Michigan or Minnesota that are currently under some sort of fascist tyrannical government that needs liberated. We will liberate you with merchandise.
Yes,
because as you all know, everything's still running, because that's not the case. It's not a tyrannical government. So it is what it is. But I think that's it for today. As always, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We will be seeing you all soon, hopefully in a actual recorded in-person episode format. I am missing that. But for now, this is Steven.
And this is Lydia.
And we will see you all later.
Bye.
Bye.